I'm a filmmaker at best, trying to be a filmmaker.
You have shared screen space with Manoj Bajpayee. Tell me everything.
Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. You cannot tell me that it is not one of the greatest movies ever produced by India.
You have summarized my internal being so accurately. Hello, and welcome back to Two Tickets Please, the smart casual podcast where we love talking about cinema, sports, comedy, and really anything that's ticket worthy. I'm still your host. My name is still Nalin, and you're still tuning in, so life is good. But you know what would make it better? If you went ahead and clicked subscribe right now, so you can get updated every time we've got a new upload on the channel. Now, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the podcast, but in addition to being a massive fan of cinema, I am also a filmmaker myself. And I bring that up because it's relevant to introducing the guest for this episode. You see, today's guest is a friend and fellow filmmaker whom I met almost a decade ago. Not only does he have an incredible grasp of storytelling, he's also someone who shares in my love for the movies, especially Hindi films. I love talking to him. I'm really very excited for him to join me on the podcast for the very first time. It's Sunil Shetty. Sunil Sharma.
Hello, guys.
Welcome to Two Tickets Please, Sunil. Did you feel offended that I introduced you as Sunil Shetty?
I've heard that many times before. People have called me a long time. Yeah, all throughout the school, everyone would call me Sunil Shetty. It's the most famous still out there after maybe, before Gavaskar or after Gavaskar, whatever you like much.
Well, I thought because you're, a footballer, I thought Sunil Chhetri might be the one that you get more often.
That's coming up. But I grew up and all my friends. So Chhetri is the new generation might know it a little more. Everyone. Yeah. It was Shetty or Das.
For me, you're the OG Sunil. I don't know any other ones. But I wanted to ask you, Sunil, have you been on podcasts before, or is this your podcast
my first podcast debut?
I am happy to be part of your debut on two occasions. For context for people listening and watching, I was in my first year of film school, and I was casting for actors for a short film assignment. And into the audition room walks this young lad who absolutely nails it, right? And over the following days and weeks, I obviously got to know you, Sunil, and I learned you don't even really consider yourself an actor that much, but actually you are also a film student.
I'm a filmmaker at best, trying to be a filmmaker. I just wanted to be on set at that time. I was studying media, and I was like, how do I get on set and know more people? It was trying to get as a camera assistant or a sound assistant, and you need technical terms, to understand those things. I was like, maybe, just apply for acting role as well. If you get to be on a set, you learn. And luckily, I got that audition, I came through, and yeah, that was fun.
I mean, I had so much fun. I think what was really special for me about that was not just that you were on board as an actor, but I got to meet you, and I don't have that many film friends. You're, I think, the first film friend I made. So I think that was very exciting for me because you also understood a lot of the reasons why I loved cinema, the reasons why I got into filmmaking. I don't think I've ever asked you though, what inspired you to study, to go to film school, to become a filmmaker?
Well, it's very pretty, the old school story where, somebody brings a camera in your house and you suddenly get excited. So it was the same. I was following my brother's path to do everything. He played football. I played football. He went into engineering. I went into engineering, and he got a DSLR one day, and he just went, oh, this camera I bought. And suddenly I got interested in that. And, at home, I would try and record videos and use the RAM focus and stuff like that. It's like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And he told me, if you really like it that much, why are you studying engineering? I said, why don't you study media? At the end of years, you'll get that degree as well. And that's something you would love to do. So just go ahead. And I said, yep, that sounds good. Join media and to learn more about filmmaking. And that's how I started. And, love for films, as an Indian, it's always going to be there. Bollywood is just, in your blood. Sorry.
Well, let me ask you, because I'm interested to ask people who have, watched Bollywood films, especially if you've grown up with them like you have and like I have. I think recently, maybe about 8 or so years ago, I started to hear that people didn't necessarily like the term
Yeah.
Bollywood because it felt like a rip-off of Hollywood, and that the Indian film industry, or at least the Hindi film industry, has its own identity. What's your take on it?
I don't think too much about it. I was born and raised on the term Bollywood. If anyone asks me what's your favorite Bollywood movie, I'll say this is this. I will not actually go and say, oh, it is Indian film industry. And I get where they're coming from. I understand what they're trying to say. It's like if we're not, a copy or a second hand of Hollywood, but they trying to find meaning in certain places where there might not be. It's just a term that people. It's just easy to refer to. Um, it's easy to refer to that whole branch of Indian film industry as Bollywood. It's a name that's stuck to people. I don't mind it. I say it if people call me, oh, you work in Bollywood? Yes, absolutely. I work in Bollywood. That's what it is. Yeah.
Okay, so you had this DSLR that you got at home, and you're learning, how to play with it and that kind of stuff. At the same time, what were the movies or what were the filmmakers that you were like getting really excited by, going like, oh, I love the way that they're telling their stories, or the way they use the camera? Who are those people?
Yeah. So like before getting the camera, I did not think that, direct making movies is a job. I just thought there's some people who do it and they do it. Like I just never considered. I was like, very naive about this whole industry. And then when I realized I love to play with camera and see. And then I realized, oh, there's somebody who's a director, there's somebody who's a writer, there's somebody who's a cinematographer. And then that's when I realized what the movies that I'm watching, there's people actually trying to make it look what it looks like. And that's when I realized, and that was the time where Anurag Kashyap was coming up and Vikramaditya Motwane was coming up. So that sort of gritty sort of movies were coming up that I just really associated myself with. So Anurag Kashyap, Vikramaditya Motwane, Vishal Bharadwaj, like those are the ones that really influenced me into getting into filmmaking.
I mean, these particular filmmakers you've named, they're very gritty. Yeah. And is that your style of cinema? Is that the kind of film you would like to make?
Yes, someday. That's the kind of. I mean, obviously, you see Vikramaditya Motwane's sir's work in Lutera. That's not gritty, but like I just feel like it's so rooted and it's so real. I don't need to be that gritty, but if I can come close to whatever, like have an aspect of realism to it, where it feels like this is possible. It's a love story. It's a beautiful love story, and I love it. So yeah, like I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Like it's a love story, and it is something that is not probably. I feel like it's possible that something like that could happen. So I associate it with like realism for me, and that's my like I would. But again, Raj and DK sir, I've worked with them. Like their style is so different, and that's something I would love. Or like Guy Ritchie, Snatch. I came through Snatch, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Those were my movies when I started actually, falling in love with movies. And that's like, funny, banter, quick, come, go sort of style. And up any sort of movies, like, once you get into it, like now after 10 years, at start, it was all about Anurag Kashyap sir. I have to make that kind of movie. But now I understand you can make any kind of movie. You just need to be, you convince yourself, this is the story I want to tell. This is how I want to tell. And then, the, Marvel or RRR or whatever it is. I don't mind making any kind of movies now. Yeah. But initially, I would like to make some gritty stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so interesting to hear how your perspective has evolved, even on like appreciation for, because I agree with you. Like, I think when you're starting out, I used to have this opinion of like, good cinema is intense and very like, thought-provoking or it's philosophical, and a comedy film will never be worthy of an award because it's very light. And the more that, you work or you study or you watch, you really, I came to learn that there's incredible craft needed to pull off a comedy film. Like that is not easy to make something funny, right? So I think there's a renewed appreciation for just people who are committed to whatever style of filmmaking that they attach themselves to. I remember you actually really highly recommended to me to watch Edgar Wright's movies. And after you suggested that, I started watching, I think I watched Shaun of the Dead, and there was also the other one.
What is World's End? The World's End, or
The World's End. Yeah, and I remember watching like two or three of them because I watched
Yeah.
one, and I remember you the way you pitched it to me was like his cutting pattern, the way he just comes in
Yeah.
and out of a scene, like his montage and just tells you the entire story. And I was like, wow, this sounds interesting. And then I watched the film and I was like, oh my God, Sunil's
Man.
right. This is like so incredible. And then I started watching back to back Edgar Wright. So yeah, it's you're so spot on with like everyone has a sort of distinctive take on
Yes.
it. And I almost wonder if the challenge of being a filmmaker ourselves is how can we identify and like own our own distinctive taste or voice?
For me, it's like all of this combination of all the movies that we watch and all the directors that we love. The more we watch, like it sees into our subconscious, and then when you're writing and telling your story, sometimes you pick a shot that is probably famous from somebody else, but you don't even know that you're picking that shot. And I think that's how after making one or two, you'll kind of find your own style. You realize maybe that quick dialogue, I'm not enjoying it as much while making it. I'd love to see it, but maybe I'm not enjoying it while I'm making it. So that gets out of your style. You know what I mean? So it not until then, unless you make something, it's going to be hard. Until then, you're going to feel like, oh, I'm. If I make a movie, it's going to be like Guy Ritchie, and then it's not. You you want to be yourself, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, that's true. But coming back to, I guess, Bollywood films or Hindi films, how are they different to some of the other, like the Hollywood or world cinema that we see? What would identify Hindi films as being their own genre?
Um, well, music's first. You've got songs in our movies, songs everywhere. Doesn't have to be physical. There's songs for no reason. There's fight going on and there's an item number playing in the back. Um, but just yeah, like we're very heavily influenced by music. So a lot of that is in our filmmaking, and I love that. Uh, it's a vast country, so multiple languages. So many languages. Even if it's a Hindi movie, you see two people talking in Gujarati, or they just know that audience will understand a little bit of Gujarati or a little bit of Marathi. It's not just. It just sometimes it just isn't Hindi. There's so many things, so many accents and dialects. Like I mean, yeah, sure, it's in every movie, but like it's so big, so huge in India. I just feel it's yeah, like it's so much happening in one movie. Uh, you can say the hours of films, 3 hours, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It's big movies we make. So if your audience
Yeah.
to sit down for 3 hours in one seat, you got to give them music, you got to give them dance, you got to give them drama, the comedy, the tragedy, everything needs to be packed into one. So it's so
Hmm.
different to yeah, like other film industries that we don't have a genre. Some movies don't even have a genre. uh, every other movie is labeled as this genre, that genre. Some of our movies don't. You can't label them.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, you're spot on with the most popular films. I guess I would say it is the ones that appeal to the most people are a mix of many genres. There'll be scenes which are purely just for comedy or comic relief, scenes which are just action. So yeah, there's a bit of everything. And I think what's really interesting is that there's been a long-standing tradition for Indian films to have intervals or intermissions, which isn't because I guess, if you're going to ask someone to sit down for 3 hours, you need to give them a break. I don't know, making a film with an intermission in mind, do you think that's harder? Like you need to kind of have two distinctive acts, right?
I mean, it is hard, right? Like you got to end on a note where people, when they walk out to get their popcorns or go to the washrooms or anything, they're still talking about the movie. Oh, where is it going to go? What's going to happen? This ended on that. What do you think is possible? Right? And as soon as they come back, you can't bore them in the next 10 minutes. So again, something needs to happen, right? Otherwise, they'll be like, "Oh, the second act was boring." So suddenly, again, you need to do something. So there are so many traits that you have to have in a interval movie. I think it's dying though. A lot of it because of OTT is not happening because uh, it gets played in OTT after just like 20 days, 25 days out of coming into the theater. So it's not as prevalent. But like in 90s, there was no OTT. It would just come on TV after like say 6 months or something. So every sort of films or writers, they have to include that in their writing process or whatever it was. I think now it's not as prevalent, but people still do it. People still understand that it's part of our filmmaking, and you've got to, any way you can enhance a filmmaking process or storytelling, you've got to do it.
Do you still go to the theater to watch movies, or are you mostly a OTT or like a streaming platform?
No, I go to the theaters as well, but it's become so, I've become so picky. I don't like saying that, like I don't like that whole side of myself, but I have become picky because of OTT. It's like, if I'm going to the theaters, it needs to be something grand. It needs to have the sort of sound I might not get at home, a sort of visual that looks bigger on a bigger screen. Like, I'm not going to go and watch a romantic love story. Unfortunately, it just doesn't pull me to the theaters, right? Like, I can watch that at home on a decent sound on a decent TV, and I'll get the best of the storytelling or filmmaking there is. But if it's a Dune 2 or an Interstellar or like a Top Gun, I want to see that in the theaters. And I don't like that about myself, but that's been happening for the last 2 years. That's what's been happening. The smaller movies, I'm not going. And you want to go with people, so you want to see something grand like that. That's what theaters are for. So it's gone into that kind of stage, I guess.
No, I hear you. I'm pretty much the same. I mean, I think because we've got access to Netflix, Amazon, or whatever else, the ability for us to watch movies regularly has improved, right? So now I can watch a movie almost every day if I want. Whereas in the past, that was not possible because I can't go to the theater every day. So my consumption has increased naturally. And then that's translated into, okay, hold on now. I've got this choice of I could watch a movie at home tonight, or I can see what's running in the cinema and go watch a movie in the theater. And that's going to cost me X amount of money to buy a ticket and to go there. Whereas I've already paid for this subscription and it grants me like unlimited access. So it feels free because you've paid for it at the start of the month, and then it feels like I'm watching a movie for free, which is messed up maths, but that's how it works.
Yeah,
right?
and no, I don't think anybody checks saying what's running in cinemas anymore. It's like, oh, this movie's coming out, I know about it, so I'll go to the theaters, right? You're not going, oh, I'm bored, let's go to the theaters. Because you're like, oh, I'm bored. Pick up your phone and you're watching reels. Oh, I'm bored. Turn on the TV and you've got 10 different platforms. What's running on Netflix? What's running on Amazon? Theaters are just the sort of place where I'm not like, if I'm at home and I'm going, oh, I'm bored, I'm not going to the theaters. It's just not that case anymore.
Yeah.
If I don't know that a movie's in the theaters, then I probably they haven't marketed it to me. I haven't heard about it. So like, it's just, I will not go for that film. I guess like if I hear about it, I'm interested in it, then I'll go. Yeah.
How do you, what gets your interest? What do you need to see beforehand? Is it like the trailer? Is it the poster? Is it just a news announcement? What would...
The trailer does it for me. Yeah, absolutely. Like if let's say, like, I mean, if it's something that I've been really waiting for, like say one of my favorite directors, I'll go. I will not watch the trailer. I will not watch the trailer because like, then it'll give me some perception of it. And I don't want that. But if it's a movie that I don't know who the director is, what's happening in it, like what's the idea, like what's the story, if I haven't heard anything and I watch the trailer, and if it gives me too much information, I will not go. Like, I hate those trailers where like I feel like I've seen the film. So yeah, trailers does it for me. Like if a trailer is intriguing enough, I go, oh, wait, that looked good, and I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, it's a very sort of edgy line for me, because trailers, I do enjoy watching them to get a feel of the world and the tone and the mood. But I am so afraid now to watch a trailer because I'm afraid they're going to tell me too much. They're going to show me too much. I'm going to go and this happened recently to me. I went to watch Sitare Zameen Par, right? I had seen the trailer. I had also seen Champions, which was the Hollywood remake of the Spanish film. So I'd seen that one already. So I kind of knew what the story was going to be about. But I'm like, okay, let me watch this trailer. And I feel like I got all the beats basically from that trailer. So when I went to watch the movie in the cinema eventually, it was a nice, sweet film, but I was not taken for a ride because nothing was new. Nothing was like, oh wow, I'm seeing this for the first time. You know, that I didn't get that feeling. So I'm so wary now of watching trailers because I don't know. I just, especially in this world of like people wanting to uh, get get in front of your eyes, want to hook you. Like in the first 5 seconds of a trailer, they'll show you all the bang, 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 all the best shots, and then they'll show you the trailer. And I'm like, I'm watching this. Like, show me a movie. I don't want to see this. You know. So it's a tough one, but I don't know. I feel like also with specifically with Hindi films, I can't think of a trailer that I've seen recently that I've like that has wowed me. Can you think of one?
The one thing that wowed me was Animal trailer. Animal trailer just also went, oh wait, something's happening here. And it might be many reasons, like the shots were brilliant, the slow motions, the fighting sequences, the music. It just felt like everything was working towards the storytelling. I just went, okay, you know what? I want to watch this movie, and I want to watch it in the theaters. You know, the new trailers come out for Durandar by for Ranveer Singh. Again, I don't know who Ranveer Singh's character is. I don't know. I don't know what his story is. I don't know why he's fighting. I don't know. So it's again intrigued me, saying, okay, I don't know the story. Yeah, you've showed me some beautiful shots, some really good filmmaking. Perfect. That's all I want to know. That you've done a job and you've put effort into it. You've given me some beats, and now I can go with an open mind and say I might like this thing or I might not like it. But before going, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna hate this because the trailer was rubbish, or I'm gonna love this because trailer was nice. Then it kind of like already diverted toward one side.
Sunil, I'm very actually intrigued to ask you about your experience of working in India. You worked on one of my favorite shows of all time, The Family Man, on season 2 of that. And I was a fan of that show even before I knew you were going to work on it, because I watched season 1 and I was like, this is amazing. I don't think I had seen anything by Raj and DK prior to that. That was probably my first foray into them. And yeah, it was such a great watch, especially because it was one of the first streaming series that really took me, like, that really caught my eye from India. So you tell me about that. Tell me, firstly, how did you get that gig?
Yeah, so when I went to India, like left everything here, finished my degree, and I got to India, I was like, I want to try into films. And you're just trying to see if you can grab any sort of job, right? I landed a job at this production house through a network I knew, and he said, okay, why don't you come into the office? I'll introduce you and see what we can do for you. And yeah, I was there for 3 months just making like pitch decks. So they have a story, we'll find reference images, reference this, we'll make a pitch, and then we'll pitch it to producers, directors, actors, whatever. So I was working there for 3 months just making those presentations, right? Every day someone would come, say, oh, this is the story, make a pitch, but there was one of the associate directors there who was supposed to, if this pitch goes through, they'll be directing one of those pitches if they get the funding and the money and the production and everything. So they have a story, they tell us to make the presentation. So one of the associate directors there, he said, we just spoke about like how life is going and everything, and I was living alone by myself, and he said, I have a couple of students that I teach in my college, and they're moving out, they need a roommate, why don't you go join them? And then I moved out, went into this nice little apartment with 2 bedrooms, and it was 4 of us sharing 2 bedrooms. So I had a flatmate and a roommate, So my roommate then, my roommate his name is Durgesh Pratap Singh. We just gelled together like you and me gel together. Like, we just I just can't find a buddy who loves filmmaking, and all 4 of us were filmmakers. So we talk about films every day. One's going to this project, one's going to that project. So we kind of told each other, oh, look, there's a job here, or you know what, we need an assistant director at my place, or something like that. And then 2 years I did a lot of TV shows here, TV serials for Star Plus and things like that. And then Durgesh one day told me there's a role at Amazon Prime for Family Man season 2. Although it might be a low, like where you're at a second assistant director now, this might not be that key. You might do second or a third AD, and money might not be what you're earning at other projects, but it's a good opportunity. Why don't you come in and have a talk? So I went in, spoke to the associate producer there, and they told me, look, this is how it is. It's a bigger project. You haven't done any big projects like this, so we don't know if you can do it or not. But this is what we can offer. And I went back and I thought about it. And after a while, I said, it's Raj and DK, sir. Like, I've loved their films. One of the biggest reasons why I wanted to be a filmmaker. And I said, why not? It's a family, man. And the season 1 wasn't out till then. So they were in the post-production of season 1. So I didn't even know what the show was, or like how good it was going to be, or what it's going to go, where it's going to go to. But I just took Raj and DK said, how do you say no? I said, okay, I'll do it. And got it through, got one job from one, and one job from one job from one. And that's how I got it.
Wow. What did you seen of Raj and DK's prior to
So
this?
I had seen 99, Show in the City,
Okay.
and GoW, right? GoW was like, me and my brother watched GoW like 3 times in a row because we loved it so much.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
There's like, we quote that movie every now and then. 99 again. 99 was the movie that me and my brother watched, because a lot of my love for films comes from my brother as well. He's watching movies, right? So we just watched 99 back in the day, just to like, we heard this new movie's come out, and that was, I think, Rajan DK's first movie, Indian movie. And it's like, let's watch it. There's Cyrus Brocha in it and Kunal Khemu, and it's like, it looks like fun. And we watched it, and it was just nothing like we've ever watched. Like, it's a comedy movie, but it wasn't so Bollywood style comedy, right? It was just so different to what kind of comedy we were watching. And we just, then that's when I realized, like, they have a style. You see them have this certain way of filmmaking. They don't follow the tropes. They don't follow this idea of that this is how it's supposed to be. So I said, this is where you're going to learn. This is what you came to Mumbai for. Don't look for money. Because money-wise, I was taking a hit. And I was like, how will you pay rent? How will you do food and everything? And I was like, you're not here for that. You're not here to earn money. And I got an offer. I said, yes, all right, you know what? Let's do it.
This sounds really interesting, because I've heard stories from other people who've worked in India saying that it's tough to be in the film industry in India. Like, one job doesn't pay you well enough. So you kind of have to work multiple jobs to sort of survive. Was that the case for you?
Like, you can't really do multiple jobs when you're working in films, because you're making a movie. The hours are going to be so different. It's a 12-hour shoot. It's going to go 15, 16 hours. You're going to be shooting for 30 days in a row for 16 hours, sleeping 4 or 5 hours. You can't do any other job. And a lot of what happens is, when you're first going there, because you don't know anyone, you're not going to get a big gig. You're not going to get Karan Johar. You're not going to get Excel Entertainment, right? So you're working for little web series and little web shows and little TV shows. And what happens there is, you might not get paid when you want to. It's not at the end of the month. Not every production houses work that way. So first of all, it's monthly. So there's no weekly or fortnightly thing in India. So you're getting paid monthly. And then let's say the whole project was 2 months project. You were signed in for 2 months, only till the production, and you're let go because there's another team for post-production, right? So the production finishes, and then 15 days later, you're like, what about my money? And they're like, we still, the finance is still going, the budgeting, this, that, the money's still supposed to come in and that. And you might not even get paid for 2-3 months. And you're kind of chasing them, saying, hey, listen, I've already worked here. What about my money? So it's such a bizarre place where you have to be rude. You have to be annoying. You have to be strict. You have to go after shooting for 15 days. You have to go, I will not show up from tomorrow if you don't pay me for 15 days. Right? Like, you need to know all these things, or you need to talk to them beforehand, saying, you pay me for 15 days at the end of this month, you pay me for 15 days at the end of the other month. One of the projects I did, my first project, I didn't know anything, right? So my first feature film I did there was, they told me they will pay me $1,000 a day, 1,000 rupees a day, right? So 50 days of shoot, 50,000, right? Fair enough. So the plan was for 30 days of shoot, I was supposed to get 30,000. And the shoot went till 50 days. And they said, no, we said 30,000, right? And now they're trying to manipulate you that way. And because they've gone over budget in filming, they don't have the money to spend it over to the assistants and this and that. They try and strangle you. And that's when people like me, who I was very naive, I was first project, I didn't know how to chase people up. I chased them for a week or two, and then I said, what am I going to do? I need to look for another job. If I keep chasing them, what's going to happen? So it is hard. It is hard. If you don't have that stability, that financial backing a little bit, it is hard. But again, you find a place like Raj and DK sir's project, month end, every time you get the money. If there's 4 days or 5 days of shoot, you have to take a break. Like when you're scheduling, they say, if 5 days of shoot is done, you need to take a break. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if you don't have actors' dates or not. 5 days of shoot, you have a day off. That's how it is for all the crew and everyone. There's a certain plan, and they work that way. And because they were at a stage where they could allow that to happen. Other small mid-budget people might not have that opportunity.
And also, I guess that series was for Amazon. So Amazon will have their own sort of, I mean, it's weird to say Amazon has to look out for workers' rights and conditions, but yeah, I suppose there's a level of governance that comes in, right? Whereas if you're an independent production, there isn't any big authority figure covering you, and you kind of just can do whatever you want, and you know, what can anyone really do about it? What about like the working culture and the work ethic on set? Like I've heard stories of these film sets, you know, like the crews have turned up during call time, but then the actors come really late. Is that a thing that happens? Is that just normal?
It is normal. It happens. Like I can't say, because I understand that with bigger projects, right? Like feature films with people like, you know, mega stars, big stars, people, you know, that might be the case. And also they have to do so much other than filming. Unfortunately, they have to go to events, they have to go to award shows, they have to go to, you know, promo ad and things like that. They're also human. So they might also get tired and coming late, and it might happen there. And also another, you know, you have to have an image coming in this and that. I mean, people do those things. Where I've worked, it wasn't the case. I saw everyone come on time, and if they didn't, they would let us know why they're not coming on time or what's happening. People like Manoj Bajpayee would be, if the call time's 8, they'll probably be there by 7:30. You know, like professional people will show up, and I'm not like I said, mega stars. Those they're allowed to do that because they've built up enough reputation. They might have so many things, and they are signed up for this project because they are bringing that certain kind of money back in, right? Because of them, the 500 people have a job. The whole crew, 500 crew people, they're having a job because they said yes to this movie. And at times, that's just the case. So they should be allowed. And it's how do you work around it? It's the job of the director, it's the job of the producer to go, I have a star who doesn't show up on time. He shows up 4 hours late. Okay, maybe we shoot other stuff beforehand. That's their job. And that's how the industry works, I guess. You got to figure out a way, man.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I keep hearing, and I haven't experienced it firsthand, but the culture in India, from what I understand, and you can tell me if this is right, is there's this unique concept which I don't know if there's a word for it anywhere else. This idea of jugaad, right? This idea that jugaad essentially means like you just gotta find a way and make it work, right? Find a shortcut, find a hack, do whatever it takes, just solve the problem. And that seems to be sort of like a required skill set to be a working professional in India. You have to be able to just solve the problem, whatever it takes.
A good assistant director in India is the guy who knows how to do jugaad things. It's as simple as that. Director wants a shot. He doesn't have a permission. Okay, how can I do this? You're in a village where people don't understand English, or they don't understand your language, and you want to shoot here for 2 minutes. So what's happening? Maybe the people in village, like the panchayat or the goons or whatever you want to call them, they don't want people here. They want more money. They just suddenly show up. How are you going to manage that? So the good assistant directors are the ones who can do jugaad, who can talk to these people, who can say, please, half an hour, please, 10 minutes, please, this, please, that. A location is paid for 12 hours, but your shoot is going 14 hours. How do you save that 2 hours worth of money from that location? is by doing jugaad. You talk to
Yeah.
people. That's how Indian filmmaking is such an organized chaos. Like everyone knows what they're doing. But if somebody walks in and they're going to be like, let's say somebody from Australian film industry or Hollywood walks in to a Bollywood set, they're going to be like, you guys are nuts. What are you guys doing? But every single person who's there on the set, they know what they're doing. I I went there first time on a set, and I was like, and I'd only done student films here, and even that looked much more organized, and everyone was on time and bringing their own stuff. And right now I'm seeing it's like, what's happening? And it's like the camera guy is like having a coffee. It's like, hey, give me 5 minutes. And I'm like, run. So it's crazy.
This sounds like a whole different world, because my experience has all been mostly in Australia. I mean, we worked on Thor. We were on the sets of Thor, Love and Thunder. I worked on Shang-Chi as well. And I think just being on those like big Marvel sets, it is a whole, like, it's a massive machine that is operating, and every single person or every single unit is accounted for. And I don't think any of this would ever fly in a Marvel world. None of this like haphazard or like just like a laid back approach. It just is a whole different world of filmmaking. But the films get made. If anything, India makes more films than anyone else. So what's the secret?
It's like I said, everyone there, like a lot of people, they actually enjoy being there on the set. I just see so much passion there, right? Like, for example, for Family Man, we were just walking towards a location where the director just saw some people were dancing. And then suddenly the director, the cinematographer spoke, and then assistant directors, two of us went to those guys. They said, hey, we're going to film. You just have to dance. We don't have to do anything. You just dance. The actors are going to go through you. That's all. And the actors were nearby because they were on that location. And suddenly we realized this could be a great part of a montage in episode 2 or 3. Right? And as soon as the director says that, the cinematographer running to take that shot, the assistant directors, us, are running to crowd control. One of the assistant directors gone to the actors and say, we're going to do a costume change because, you have to go through this. And everyone's saying, okay. Everyone's saying, okay, 5 minutes, you want to do this. Okay, let's do it. Right. And yeah, I can't really say it because I haven't been to another Australian film set, or they might be passionate too. I'm not just saying, oh, you're not passionate, but for me on an Indian set, it just felt like everyone has their problems in pre-production and everything, but as soon as you're on set, everyone's working towards this one little thing. It's like, get this done. You have to make this film in 30 days. Okay, they're passionate towards that filmmaking process.
Now tell me, I think one of your claim to fames is you have shared screen space with Manoj Bajpayee. Tell me everything.
It was so nerve-wracking, like, because what was happening was we had called for some 40 odd juniors, right? And it was an office space, and we filled up the office and everything. And suddenly a shot was put next to Manoj Bajpayee, and they said, oh, we need somebody there. And I had work done that morning was I was taking care of juniors that day. So initially for the first, from 9 to 12, we only had 20 juniors. And then from 12 to another 5, we had 20 more juniors coming. And you pay shift wise, right? So, let's just call 20 people in the early shift and then 20 people later. So we have to pay them less. So production does that. So now in the morning, when there was less background artists, I was told to dress up and be ready just in case we need a passing shot or anything like that. Because we have less juniors, you're one of the assistants, you'll be doing your job. But if I need a shot where I need more than this many amount of people, why don't you walk in or do something like that? And that's why I was already shirt up, pant down, like formals, had a tag on my pocket. I was ready to be a background. But I always thought it'd be passing shot or anything. But Raj sir, he does that. He's got a knack of, being very creative suddenly and going, hey, where's Sunil? Put him there. And he just said, put him there. He was just having fun. because you work with your assistant for like 8 months, 9 months. You build a rapport. So it's like, yeah, put him. So I just sat down next to him, and Manoj Bajpayee was like, the shot was done. I was just supposed to do typewriting, and they were having a chat, and then the scene ends. The boss goes away, and Manoj Bajpayee looks up to me and goes, what an idiot, right? And he's not like, I'm not being told that I'm going to have a conversation with this legend, right? And on camera, it's rolling. There's 200 people looking at you, and I need to say something here or do something, right? And not an actor. So I'm just like, what an idiot. And I said something in Marathi. I was like, just had to do something, right? And I said something in Marathi, something like that. And and then everyone burst into laughter. And obviously, they didn't use that cut, which I'm really bummed about. I could have been my gateway to fame, but I was in a shot with Manoj Bajpayee, man.
So that would be, I would be so nervous about being in that position where he turns to you and he's like improving, right? He's riffing on the spot.
The whole idea of you're in the frame behind Manoj Bajpayee, in that angle, they can see you. And I'm not an actor. I've not been briefed or anything like that. Like, I don't have that sort of headspace, right? So even when I was typewriting, I didn't know if I'm supposed to look because they're having a conversation, just to acknowledge. Like, as a filmmaker, I would tell somebody, right? So I was like, think like a filmmaker. And then I was like, do I acknowledge their conversation or do I just work? Wouldn't it look odd if I'm just working? So you're continuously, you're thinking and thinking, you don't know what you're doing. And I was like, do I do it? Do I do it not? And I don't know. Yeah, it's so hard. Acting is not easy, man. Acting is not easy.
But that's awesome. That's such a great experience. Aside from the fact that, you get to tell future like people, kids or whatever, that you got to be in a frame with Manoj Bajpayee, but just like the actual experience of being on a set with such like talented creative people, right? Manoj Bajpayee, Raj DK, any other sort of creative people you would have worked with. Like, what was it that you took away from that experience or from someone on that set that has still sort of stayed with you?
The biggest thing that I learned from it would be from Raj DK, sir. And I was just lucky enough to be there for the whole thing. So we got a Bible of 20 pages. That was the season 2 Bible. That was what the writer had written. And writer Suman sir as well, right? He was there for the whole process of 9 months with Raj sir and DK sir. And I was lucky enough that I was the assistant who was told to be in the writer's room to take notes, because I could type really quickly. So I was taking notes. So I'm sitting in a room with Raj sir, DK sir, Suman sir, just going at each other saying, this does not work, this work, this is not right, this is right. How do you write this? How do you write that? And that's where I learned, man, this whole process of writing it's so different to what people think it is. You just don't sit there and go, oh, you write cut, boom, 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 boom. Right? You've written this one tiny page, like a paragraph, and you have to make 3 pages out of it to make a scene. And that's the whole idea that, Manoj, like Shrikant and, JK are sitting at a cafe talking about this. That's it. That's all it was written. But you see how they create these things. They talk about it. They go, okay, what is important in this scene and things like that. And they're arguing. And you realize it's a process that writing does not end when everything is written. That whole thing changes on set, before set, while people are acting, while doing. So it's such a big process. Like, I learned that, not to set anything in stone. Just be adaptable. Like, from those guys, I was like, from Raj sir is like, just be adaptable. If you have a problem, you find a solution. Don't worry about it. He's a very chill guy. So I learned that from DK sir. He's an engineer. Like, both of them are engineers. So DK sir, for what I learned was method, just discipline. It's like he knew everything about every character. You could not question him. It's a 1 hour episode and 9 hours. So 9 hours worth of content. You could ask him episode 5, why is Raji doing this? He'll tell you why is Raji doing this. So methodical, so right, straight on point. And that's why they work together, I guess. One's like a creative uh, guy who just goes, who's Raji? He'll just suddenly say, who's this guy? Who's it? But it works. It works for them, and I learned so much, man. Learned so much. It's just, yeah. Again, you you can take whatever you want from them. It's the process. If you like the process, you'll find a way, and then suddenly it will become your style. They found their style. I saw them do it, and I was like, okay, yeah, this works for them. Might not work for me, might not work for you. Works for them, and they stick true to it every time. Every time.
Dude, that would have been amazing to just be a fly on the wall in the writer's room. And I guess that was your audition to being a typist.
Yeah.
Little did you know.
It worked out well, man. I think that's where he found me. And you know what? Where's Sunil? He's got enough, experience.
We need someone who can type. Let's get that guy. What's the like now that you still watch Indian films. You still watch Hindi movies and stuff, right? You stay up to date with what's coming on, like you're watching trailers and whatnot. From your perspective, what's the problem currently? Because I don't know. The reason I'm asking that is I feel like over the last 6 years, every time I hit play on a Hindi film, I am not always satisfied. And that satisfaction level has been declining steadily from my perspective. So I'm curious to hear from you, especially because you've worked there as well. What do you think the problem is?
I don't know how do you call, like, the problem for me, it would be like Indian film industry, because it's so big, and because everyone wants to be in that industry. Why? Money. Half of the people are there for money, half of the for passion, right? Let's put that number into it, right? Okay, 50-50. Give everyone that. 50 people are there for the money. So what happens is when that 50 people who are passionate about something, they create something which has come out, and suddenly it's like, oh wow, right? Bahubali. Something that came out from true passion in 5 years of hard work. Bahubali. Two parts, right? Now this 50%, the rest of the 50% that want to make money, they see that and go, you got to do the same. So now there's, and like I said, I'm not blaming everyone who's making two parts. There might be people who are actually passionate and actually making two parts, three parts film. But a lot of what happens is it's following the trend. A lot of it is in Indian film industry is following the trend because they want to make quick money. So you go and do big, after Bahubali, everyone wanted to do big dramas, big, grand movies, right? Pan-India films. Suddenly everything pan-India films, right? And it's the case. It's always the case. And I just feel like it's not a problem. It's just the way industry works. I don't see it as a problem. There's a certain loop that we go through, and by the end of that loop, something will come out. Back when the movies, before just when OTT was coming out, movies were getting stale. OTT came, and suddenly everyone had a venue to write and showcase their talent. And we had such great concepts, such great ideas, right? And suddenly everyone was saying, oh, content is king, and we don't want to see rubbish. Great movies, grand movies, 3 hours movies, 1 hour, 2 hours movies, content is king. When that happened, everyone jumped onto that. Everyone wanted to do that. Everyone wanted to do like a small town village story. And that got, too much of it. Saturated. And then you move on to something next. So I love Indian films and Bollywood so much that I don't blame anyone for anything, and I don't see a problem. I just feel that's the nature of the industry. For me, everyone says, oh, South is doing so much better than Bollywood. I don't see it that way. South is doing great. Bollywood is doing great too. They're going through a slump, whatever you want to call a slump. It's not a slump for them. That's just a part of industry. Now suddenly they'll make some movies which are great. And South is going to go through that same whole phase of, making the same kind of movies. Remixes. We say remix. It's just people will have to make a money. People, it's business.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, my assessment of it, that business has become I think it was always a part of movie making. I would be ignorant to believe otherwise. I feel like now I'm seeing it more obviously. So in the past, where there might have been things that used to happen behind the scenes in terms of money, in terms of especially if it was like criminal money or black money or something that would need to be used in order to fund films because filmmakers don't have money and they need to get it from anywhere. Now, I think with the rise of like corporates or something like, say, Apple. Apple is a tech company, now has a streaming platform, and then produces their own original productions. They're good productions. There's nothing wrong with them. But it's so interesting that these are like massive corporations that are funding films now. And the bottom line becomes so much more important. So if I'm making a producer or director is putting money into a film or is getting money to make a film, the importance of that film to be a good return on investment becomes like the number one priority. And I almost wonder if now we've skewed a little bit far. So it's like, well, whatever it takes to get a good return on investment, right? If we need to make a remake, we'll do that. If we need to, tap into a trend that is going stale, we'll do that. If we need to put an item song in here just so that it looks good for promotion, we'll do that. And it's coming at the cost of like good storytelling.
For my counter to that is people who want to make good films will find a way to make good films, right? And they always find a way to make good films. Some people deal with producers and go, listen, this is what the story is. You want to put music in. Let's try and see how we can accommodate that. Okay. And then there are production houses that goes, I want to make part 4 of this project. I don't care. Why? Because I have the money that will give me more money. Now I have more money. I can make a smaller project to a passionate filmmaker. Go make a film, right? So for my counter to that is there's always good films. It is probably not finding the audience as much, but you have to figure out a way how to make good films. And that's up to the directors. That's up to the storytellers. We cannot hide. We want to make a good film. Look at the accessibility we have right now. And that's why I feel like it goes hand in hand. Pick up a phone, shoot. Right? What, $30 for a good mic? Yeah, just go do it. You do that, make a name for yourself. The B productions are going to come to you and they're going to ask you to make part 4. Say no. Say no. If you don't want the money, say no. Right? So that's just how it is. You have to, good people will do what they have to do. Some people are passionate about it. Some people become director and then they go, oh, you know what? Financially, I'm not stable. I might do a part 4. Fair enough. Fair enough. People who are making that part 4, the producers are making the money. But people who are getting hired to do those jobs, they might be earning good money too. And maybe they're in need of that money. Fair enough, right? We can always question that, but I feel like it's, you find your way. You find your movies, you find your audience. You'll be okay.
Who are the filmmakers, in your view, like the producers or directors in India that you think are committed to good quality cinema? Like they're the ones to watch out for now in the next 5 to 10 years.
Every production house is committed to make good films. I think every, right? No, half of them make bad movies as well to get that money in, but they're also trying to make good films. I don't see a production house which are making, let's say, whatever we're saying, this part 4, part 5, it's crass comedy. That is not really interesting. It's a repetition. But there's somewhere in the last 2 years, they maybe had a movie which they actually wanted to make with passion, but didn't work. So I think every production house is doing that. But obviously, some people do it more often than not. So Excel would always probably make better storytelling movies because that's their niche, right? That's how they do it. Karan Johar, Dharma Productions, I feel like they make good movies. It's probably not for everyone, but they always try to make good movies, good directors. Anurag Kashyap, Vikramaditya Motwani, Vishal Bharadwaj sir, Raj DK sir. None of them try to make a bad film. And yeah, for us filmmakers, it's a little harder because we watch movies not as a regular audience. There's so much we look for. And suddenly, because our love for filmmaking, we complicate things. Suddenly we're going, oh, this movie did not have a great single shot. Yeah, it did not. They didn't want to do it. What was, did you have fun? Maybe, we make it harder for ourselves. While audiences, some people I talk to, they're like, oh, I just went in there. I had a good laugh. I came out. What was the story about? Nothing much. Nothing. But they had a good time,
That's a really good point. Yeah, I mean, I have to sort of definitely put into perspective my own lens that I employ when I watch films. I think I'm increasingly becoming aware of that. When I watch a film, am I the intended audience? That's something I'm constantly questioning these days. Maybe this film is a great film, but just for another group of people. Perhaps me as a filmmaker, or based on my interests or based on my background, I'm not the person who's going to enjoy this the most. And that's okay. It's not that this is a bad film. So I think that's a really good, level of awareness that we need to
But
employ.
we also contradict ourselves. Like I contradict myself as well. And it's, it's hypocritical. But there are days where I'm going to be like, why are they making this movie again? Why are they making part 4 of this again? Who's giving them money? I will cry about it. I do cry about it. It's like, who's giving money? Why are they not putting money to good films and stuff like that? But then some days I'll be like, yeah, it's okay.
I want to remind you of something,
Yeah.
Sunil. I want to remind you of a pact that we have made. We had made this pact that whenever one of us directs a feature film, we're going to get the other person to be on the crew. So I think you're probably getting close. And I need to remind you to remember me when that time comes.
I moved away from Mumbai back to Australia, and I'm like, again, going towards, I'm going further away. I'm like trying to crawl back.
Yeah.
So obviously it's never going to go away. You're always going to have that dream. I'm always going to try and fight back. I'm somewhere in the middle now. Like I'm not gotten there. Almost like it was pretty much like I went there, I touched it, and I'm like, oh, this is great, and I came back.
What's the goal here? What's the next project?
Next project is a short film that I've been trying to make for a while, and it's just I need to let go of my own idea of filmmaking for that. I'm getting caught at thinking, what if I don't get the sound right? What if I don't get the shot right? What if I don't get actors? I have to ask my brother, ask my friend, and that has been happening for so long that I have not made a short film. And now I'm thinking, we could have made 3 by now. Doesn't matter to keep the craft going, to keep your passion going. You just, like I said, accessibility, man. I can pick up a phone and go shoot it. I should. But because I have all this baggage behind me of, if I shoot it like that and I put it out, what about the people who I work with in India? What will they think? What will they will be like, he was here for 3 years and this is how he shoots. This is how he records sound. And I don't want them to think that way. And then that's why I don't have the money to hire a 50% crew. So I'm not making a short film. And then it's like a loop I'm going into. And that's the thing, man. Like I need to fight it and just pick up a phone and just shoot it.
You have summarized my internal being so accurately. It's exactly the same. So if it's any consolation, I think a lot of us are probably feeling this way. For me, it's a thing of, I feel so bad to ask someone to do something for free now. I'm like, no, everyone's a professional. And these are all people who, like, just as I want my skills to be valued, I want to value their skills. So I'm only going to make something when I can afford to pay people for it, which is God knows when that'll happen. And equally the, first impressions count so much. I was so nervous. Even when we started this podcast, I was so nervous about, I feel like the first episode or the first video or something has to look a certain way, because everyone will judge the entire endeavor based on the first glance of it. And I will not be able to win an audience back if I don't impress them in the first go. And there was so much courage that it took to just be like, it's okay, just make something. There's nothing at stake here. Just go and hit record and see what happens. And obviously now that we've recorded a few episodes, I feel a little bit better about it. And I'm constantly trying to improve. It's not like, I don't think I've nailed it yet. But yeah, this is a constant gripe or a constant sort of insecurity that I think creative people have and will have. And somehow we've got to find a way to break it. We've got to find a way to branch out of this little loop that we're stuck in.
Everyone wants their short film to be an Oscar-winning short film. like first film, yeah, this break people's head. Um,
I blame Christopher Nolan. He's ruined it for all of us.
um, and yeah, it's so hard, man. It's so hard, but like you said, it takes a lot of courage, man. I'm so happy that you went through that whole phase of uh, shooting thinking about a podcast and actually shooting it, and then making a few episodes, and having that courage and having that thinking, what, I don't care what people are going to think. This is probably not the content that people are going to judge me for, because they're not. Once you make, let's say you hit it, you get everything right, your podcast becomes famous. It's going to be famous for that one episode that became famous, and they're going to watch that one. And then might be 200 episodes later where everything's changed, your production's changed, your sound quality's changed and everything, but you don't get to 200 episodes without being the first episode, like. And I'm so happy for you, you're doing it. Like, it makes me want to go out and film, and and I want to talk more people and feel that passion. And yeah, it's just, you gotta it's such a nightmare to talk to yourself just by yourself.
100%. 100%. All right. So as we wrap up, I want to ask you something. And this is for, I guess, viewers or listeners who are not necessarily Hindi film watchers. Okay. These are people who maybe are watching Hindi films or thinking of watching a Hindi film for the first time. What would you put on their watch list? Like, what should they start with? Maybe 3 to 5 films. Which order, and what should they watch?
Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum first, straight out of the bat. Watch 3 hours worth of high emotions, music, drama, just what Bollywood is. Right? You cannot tell me that it is not one of the greatest movies ever produced by India, because the songs are still played at every wedding. People are crying after watching that movie. People are laughing after watching that movie. It's got colors and cultures of India. It's got the family emotion. It's got everything what India is. Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum is what India is. Simple. You can, what I mean? Like, it's got that romance between people as well, but then there's father and son emotion. There's a daughter and father emotion. Everything. Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, watch it, you'll be happy for life. And then you go towards the other end of Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. You go watch Gangs of Wasseypur.
Okay, I have a story here. So we were sitting. I think I wasn't in Australia. I think I was overseas at the time. I was in Taiwan visiting my family, and we were, I think, messaging. And somehow or the other, you had mentioned Gangs of Wasseypur. And I had told you, oh, I have never seen that. And I remember vividly, your reaction was, Nalin, stop everything you are doing and go and watch Gangs of Wasseypur. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is serious. So I think that night I might have somehow gotten access to Gangs of Wasseypur Part 1 and 2. So I know where I was sitting. This is late at night. I'm sitting in bed with my laptop. I hit play, and the opening shot, this long sequence, you probably remember this. I was blown away. Opening sequence, one long shot of, like, it starts with the TV screen and they're showing Kyuki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, and then we come out and it's like an environment, and then we come out of the house and we see some movement, and I was like, what am I watching? And then I was hooked. I watched that film. I watched the second film. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. So this totally makes sense to me why you're prescribing Gangs of Wasseypur.
Supposed to be, this high gangster movie, but it's got everything. It's got comedy, it's got tragedy, it's got so many relationships, and it's just everything. But like two ends of spectrum. One's like watch with family, one don't watch with family. If you want to know about Indian film industry, or you want to watch Indian films, watch Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, watch Gangs of Wasseypur, and pick a side. And from there, you can just go watch that kind of movies.
I love that. That is very good advice, actually. You give people a sense of what's at both ends, and then they can find their niche. Yeah. Because if you're into the music and dance element of filmmaking that a lot of Hindi films offer, yep, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, K3G will get you there, and then gritty filmmaking, Gangs of Wasseypur.
Films that I loved, really influenced me to watch films would be like Udan, Lutera, Omkara, Eder. Those are great films to watch. Andhadhun.
So you're on the Gangs of Wasseypur
I am
side
on the
of
Gangs of
the
Wasseypur side,
film.
but I will not. I will tell you this. I love Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. I love Dil To Part Hai. Like those are the movies I will just sit down and watch. All the Govinda movies, in the 90s, like Mr. India, Sholay, Shan, like they were all, masala movies, as we say. Brilliant to watch, and they are high class filmmaking. It's not only just that; it's proper writing. There's a method to whatever they were doing. Was like, there's a pacing to it. So if you want to learn filmmaking, writing as well, how to hook people up for 3 hours, no one did it better than these guys when they were actually making 3 hours worth of content or a movie, whatever you want to call it. I've picked my side to watch this kind of content more often. The lefty side, righty side, I don't know what you want to call it. Nothing, but so I've taken to watch more of it. But you can't shy away from a good Govinda movie or a good Shah Rukh Khan Salman dance number.
Yeah, that's true. Is there a movie that is going to come out? It's in the works. Maybe you've seen a teaser, or maybe you just know about it, that you're most excited for. Like, this Hindi film is like a big time. You're so super excited.
Not movie, Family Man season 3. So my roommate is still working there. So he's still working there. We still talk about it. Yeah. So Family Man season 3, the shoot is done. I think they're in the post production and everything. He's done his work. I think he's in post now. So season 3 is coming up. So excited. And Dhurandhar as well. One of my friend, very close friend, Ashita, she worked in production design in Dhurandhar. So I'm obviously
nice.
Close to that to watch that one. Family Man season 3 and that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited too. Oh, that's gonna be awesome. Well, thank you, Sunil. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I was actually really excited when you agreed to be on, and I'm really thrilled that we got to do an episode together. I hope that you liked it enough to maybe consider coming back for another episode sometime.
I see you after making that short film now. Like this whole podcast. Like, thank you so much for asking me to do this, and it's kind of brought me back into like my love for it, and it was hiding somewhere in the garage or something. But yeah, now I'm excited. Now I'm fully pumped, and I want to do this. So until and unless I make that one, don't call me for the second episode, because I probably don't have much to talk about anymore.
Well, no. Well, I mean, I think you have a lot to talk about, but I think that's fair. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to hound you for that short film, because I want you back on the second episode. So I'm going to keep pushing you. Hey, Sunil, shoot this short film. Please do it, man. Like, I'm so inspired to see your work, and I want you to do more of it. It inspires me. So yeah, get going on that, and let me know how I can help you. Because we got to make these shorts.
I will need help. I will send you the script and everything. I will need help on this one.
Done. And to everyone watching and listening, thank you. I actually am curious, did you all like the episode? Because if so, hit the like button and share it with friends of yours so we can grow this together and make it bigger and better. So we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.